Munirah Amin. I'm 17 years old. My dad's from Trinidad and my mum's from Jamaica. I've got 3 sisters and 3 brothers. No, that's a lie. I've got 4 brothers. Got a new addition to the family this year. I live with one of my sisters, one of my brothers, and my mum. I've got ASs in sociology, psychology, and English literature and language. I like going out. I don't really like being in the house. I like to be doing something with my time. So I like singing. I will give you like a demo, but not really the right time. I'm quite clumsy. I've got memories from when I was about that. I was just dropping over, just tripping, busting my knees. 2 years ago, I would have been still in school, so I was kind of very dependent on everyone else. But now I'm kind of, trying to get out there, trying to find work, help my mum out. The local role model that I chose was Junior Johnson, and the reason being was because he had a hard childhood. He was in foster care for a while. He experienced racism. He then got to his adolescence, and he got in trouble with the law. But he's really kind of changed his life around. He's gone to uni now, and I just think that's really good. I think for black youth now, that is saying that you can, well, it's not good to, but you can get in trouble and there is a way out, so you have got another choice to do something else.
Could you tell me a bit about your early life?
Well, I was born in Paddington. My parents, they're from Ghana. They came here to study in the late 50s. And like many African children at that time, I was put out to a foster home whilst my parents studied. I lived with a white foster family in Kent. It was supposed to be for a period of 6 months, but during that period of time, my parents' relationship went a little bit rocky, and so I ended up sort of staying with my foster parents on a really sort of extended stay, which meant that my early childhood was quite eventful.
How did you actually come about moving to Norwich?
And I met my son's mum at university. The relationship didn't last. She moved back to Norwich. I started to visit to see my son. And the work I was doing at that time, which was, I was just starting to work with young people who were close to social exclusion and close to exclusion from school. That was transferable, so I decided to stay in Norwich. And you know what it's like, once you're here, you can never leave.
What was it like when you got to Norwich? Did you experience any kind of racism?
That was something that I was actually fearful of, very much. So, when I said to people that I was moving to Norwich, everyone was like, don't you know what they call that place, man? They call that the last great white city in England. Why are you going there? It did remind me of Kent in a lot of ways, in terms of demographics, in that if I wanted to see another black face, I had to look in the mirror, because there just wasn't any black people here when I first came down here. And I was a little bit fearful for my son actually growing up down here. But at the same time, because we've moved on as a country, I haven't really experienced the racism that I experienced in Kent or even in London.
What advice would you give to young black people growing up right now?
Focus. Go to school, get your education, focus. It sounds cliched, and I can't actually believe I'm saying stuff like this, but it is. It's the only way forward now. We've got to come together as a community. We've got to stop looking at this kind of hip-hop, ghetto mentality that a lot of young black kids think is the only way to survive. No, it isn't the only way. There is another way. It's harder, but you can't be stopped. If you're determined, you can't be stopped.
Who would you call your role model?
There's only one man. Only one man. That was Muhammad Ali. I've never met the man, but I feel he's in here. He was the fire in my belly. He kept me alive. He was the spark that kept me going and allowed me to have some dignity as a black person in some very, very difficult circumstances.
His answers were so detailed, so I really kind of, you can almost say, feel like I know him now. What stuck out for me was that she's from Trinidad. So that was at first the reason why I chose her. Also, she was the founder of Notting Hill Carnival. And I have to say, I like Notting Hill Carnival quite a lot. Went there this year, it was great. So it just felt that kind of connection. She also, unfortunately, died kind of young. But in that time, she did quite a lot with her life. She had a magazine. She was really into politics and like black rights and whatnot. So I think she did quite a lot in her short life. What was it that made Claudia form the Notting Hill Carnival?
Claudia Jones was the godmother, or one of the founders of Notting Hill Carnival, because she, like many other people, black people at the time, in the late 50s, early 60s, wanted to have some sort of response to the race riots which engulfed the Notting Hill area of London in 1958, following the murder of the Antiguan carpenter Kelso Cochrane. But rather than taking their rage to the streets, it was decided that they would take some Trinidadian culture, some Trinidadian music, some Trinidadian hospitality to the streets of London. And she saw this response of art, of music, of culture, of welcoming and being inclusive as being the best counter to violence. And, you can say, yes, the Notting Hill Carnival exists today in the form it does because of her input.
In your opinion, what makes Claudia a good role model for black youths?
Okay, I think Claudia Jones is a great role model, probably one of my favourite, if I have to have a role model, one of my favourite candidates, because she literally came from nowhere. She was a self-made person, a self-driven person who put a number of realities on the table which didn't exist before her coming to this country, such as a regular and accountable black press, for better or worse, black beauty pageants, which didn't exist at all before her arrival, and the Notting Hill Carnival. So many central planks of black cultural life in this country are directly attributable to Claudia Jones, and it's very important to keep her memory alive.
Before we did this project, I'd never heard of her. The reason being, I think, in schools, they don't really do much about, like, black history, except for, like, talking about slaves and whatnot. They don't really talk about black people as role models. I think that other children and youths should have that opportunity to learn about black people and their history, whether they're, don't matter what race they are, they should all be able to have that opportunity to learn about black history, yeah. As a young black lady, I think you need to know kind of more about who you are as well as who, like, other people are. Because, like I said, I didn't know about hardly anyone in this project that I know about now, and like I feel like I should have known about them because of what they've achieved or who they were, but I didn't know anything. So I think these projects, I think there should be more of them about, really.